Today we're going to talk about pretty much the assignments for the rest of the course. So from this point on, the assignments build on each other, and well, of course, you can change direction. You kind of want to work with the long goal in mind. So your next major assignment is going to be your annotated bibliography, and an annotated bibliography, just by definition, is generally supporting something else, supporting a larger project. And so we're going to create this annotated bibliography toward having a research paper, which will be your third major assignment. And then your final major assignment will be a revision of that research paper into a different genre of research reporting. So this is all one big project, basically. Um, So to start with, you're going to have an abstract proposal, and we'll talk next week about specifically the genre of the abstract proposal. It's a very common genre in academic writing. Then after you do your proposal, you're going to create your annotated bibliography, which will have 15 to 25 entries with approximately a short paragraph for each entry. Um, and then you're going to produce a outline or other pre-writing type activity for your paper to put all the stuff together from the annotated bibliography, and then you'll actually produce the 8 to 12 page formal research paper, and then from there you'll turn that into a web optimized format that you can reach a larger audience with. So you're probably wondering what it is you're going to be writing about for the rest of the semester. And that's really up to you. But what I want to do is have it relate to the themes of the course that we've already explored, literacy and discourse and so on. So I've got a few suggested topics, and of course, you're always welcome to suggest your own topic that's related to or inspired by these ideas. Just send me an email about that. So my suggested topics, you can do a discourse analysis of a genre that is related to your professional interests. So, for instance, in the past, I've had students who were studying special education, and they were talking about the individual education plans that they would have to use as a genre. Maybe you're studying architecture and you want to talk about the presentations that you might use to pitch a design as a genre. So a discourse analysis of a genre related to your professional interests. Or if you want to be a little more modern and hip, I guess, a discourse analysis of a current internet meme, which would use the same techniques but would have a different subject, or an investigation of a significant relevant issue in composition or literacy studies, such as correctness, that is, what is correct writing and who gets to say what's correct writing, um, discrepancies between academic writing and professional writing in your field. So we teach academic writing constantly, K through 12, and then again here in higher education. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're teaching the style of writing you're going to need professionally. And so there's a lot of research already out there on that, and there's a lot of space for you to add your voice to that conversation. You could also look at interdisciplinary writing. So, how do we bridge between different disciplines and their different writing styles? Or if you really want to get kind of meta about this, you can look at values that are embedded in academic and professional genres. So this would actually tread into what's called critical discourse analysis. And I'll talk a little bit about this later when we talk about research methods on how this works. Um, but you can certainly be examining what kind of values are being expressed by the genres that we tend to use. Um, so for this big project that we're breaking into small pieces, the tools that you're going to use library resources for secondary sources. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to be on campus, of course. Many of our library resources are online. In fact, you can probably do everything without setting foot in a library now, but you still need access to a library's resources to get it done. But certainly what libraries do is increasingly online because tools are increasingly online. And so you'll use a library resource for your secondary research, and then for your primary research, which is the stuff you're actually studying, you'll have to do a fair amount of field work. That field work, again, because of the 21st century that we live in, because you're able to take this class purely online and so on, your field work could be anywhere. It could be things like surveys, it could be things like emails, but it can also be in-person stuff like observations and case studies and interviews. So there's a lot of options that you have. So some of the techniques that we'll talk about later, there's discourse analysis, which also has critical discourse analysis. Um, there's interviews, there's case studies, there's surveys, there's meta-analysis where you do sort of like a discourse analysis of published studies on the subject that you're looking at. Um, and so there's a whole lot of different options you have for your fieldwork, but keep in mind that you're going to need to have a research plan that includes fieldwork and secondary sources. So we'll talk in the next video about how to develop your research plan and your research questions to meet the needs of the assignment. See you later.